Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of February 1st through the 7th. And during that time, we have a full moon that comes in on the 2nd. And of course, full moons are a time of heightened awareness and emotions. Sometimes you can feel a little overwhelmed or anxious, maybe a little snappy or irritable. So keep that in mind. You might have changes in your sleeping patterns, but it's a good time for us to release any resentment or fear and to really practice patience and calm for that few days of that full moon energy. We then move into the waning gibbous, and that is a better time for self-reflection and rebirth. Good time to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits, that sort of thing, negative thinking, and just get back to work on the things that you've been working on. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So, as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading, and you get two of them. We'll start with the first one. The energy is gaining momentum is the first card that comes out for you. And the second card is a new start is coming. Okay, so you've got some energy gaining momentum. You've got a new start on your way. Let's see what the Aries collective has going on during this full moon time. Sounds kind of exciting to me. All right, let's see if my cards will cooperate today. You're going to cooperate, cards? As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder for you this week is that you try to get out in nature. Try to take a walk if you can, walk in the woods, maybe a beautiful park or an area with a lovely view. If you're like most of us, I know we have like a foot of snow on the ground. I probably won't be out taking a walk, but I might get out in my backyard a little bit and watch that full moon as it comes down over the snow, which is probably going to be very pretty. But even if you can just get out in nature a little bit, even if it's just in your yard, then go ahead and try to give that a shot. But I know those full moon nights when it's so cold and crispy, the full moon just looks so beautiful and how it just shines light on everything else. So, all right, enough of my babbling. Let's get into this reading, Aries, February 1st through the 7th. A new start is coming. The energy is gaining momentum. I'm curious to see what's happening. Are some of you getting married? Are some of you getting engaged? That's very exciting. So first, a card that comes out of the gate here is definitely a card that's, it could be about celebrations, but it is typically our wedding card. So congratulations to those of you who are getting married, planning a wedding. Congratulations to those of you who might be celebrating an anniversary or some sort of milestone in a relationship that you're already in. But that's very exciting. And if it's a new start for you, I congratulate you on that because that's a lot of fun, right? And your current situation is the Chariot. So as you're focusing on this, you're also thinking about a move. You're kind of gathering information for something that may be upcoming. Again, if there's a new start coming, I can see why. If your life is changing in some way that you're celebrating it because of your couplehood and a new start is coming, of course you would be gathering information. And this could be, again, for younger couples, it could be a wedding that you're planning or a new life that you're planning together. For older couples that have been, it might be that you're just planning a trip or planning to make a move or just do something kind of big to celebrate where you are, but definitely gathering information on that. At the root of your situation, excuse me, is the Six of Swords here. So you're definitely thinking about the future and just moving forward in calm waters. What are you moving towards? That's probably this gathering of information and kind of planning and thinking things that are coming to, things that are coming for the future and just making those kind of plans. And that's always fun to do, right? In your recent past here is the Magician. So these may be things that are manifesting for you that you've definitely thought about, things that you've been manifesting, things you've been working on, things that you've been talking to the universe about, I want this to happen, or I'd like to experience this, or, this thing to move forward. So definitely it shows that the Magician is taking shape. It looks like you're gathering things and, planning things for the future, celebrating. So I love this reading so much so far. What is on your mind this week is the Hermit. So, you're also pensive. I mean, as you're going in, this card kind of shows this as well, that you're kind of gathering this information and looking for your next step. What is the next step for you? Is it this wedding that you're planning? Is it a party that you're planning? Is it some future, thing that you're changing that's pretty big? For some of you, it could be, like a move. It could be a big house remodel as far as that goes. It's just something that you're planning to make your life better, and you're really thinking about, you're really going in to think about the things that you're wanting to move and change, and just you're gathering information, not only outer, but it looks like inner as well. And maybe just, again, that momentum, your energy is gaining momentum as you get closer and closer to whatever this is that's changing for you. It's exciting. I'm very excited for you. What is just ahead of you is the death card. So with these beginnings come an ending. So, and I see it this way. I never see the death card as a bad thing. I know people are like, oh, the death card. But, if you've got this new beginning here and you've got this new start, what does it mean? It means that you are leaving some things behind. And that's okay. That doesn't have to be a negative thing. That could be a very positive thing. If you're moving, from being single to being married, that's fun. If you're moving from one place to the other, that's fun. You're leaving things behind. If you're leaving one job and moving to another, you're having to let that go. So that is ahead of you. And of course, it's something that you do have to think about, because some of those endings can be bittersweet. That, like, I think of changing a job, it's like, yeah, you're going to a new job and that's very exciting and it's probably more pay and all the new things that come with a new job, but there's probably people that you're leaving behind that you're not going to see them every day, and that's hard. That's the bittersweet part, is leaving behind those things that you actually enjoy, that you do have to leave behind when we take that step to move on to something new. What is in your advice position, Aries, is the Judgment card. So, this is just about you evolving. This is, when we're making judgments, it's just about a new awareness. So it's something that you've learned or grown, or, some truth that has come about that makes you look around and really just evaluate things and come to new awareness, things that come to the surface, things that are emerging. It's just the card of truth. And it makes us make those judgments, that we're going to, it could be that, I'm trying to think of a good example here, especially since it's in your advice position. The advice is to go ahead and look around at those truths, those things that have come around for you. And, let's say that it's, you've decided to change a habit, change a bad habit, so it's become aware to you that maybe there was something that you were just kind of on robot mode about, and you just did this thing and you didn't realize it was a bad thing or a bad habit, and all of a sudden some new awareness comes about and you do make a judgment and you just decide to change that. I would say, let's talk about, maybe you're drinking your water out of a plastic bottle and you read an article about microplastics and you're like, oh, what, I've been doing that this whole time. And that's what I mean, like this new awareness. So you decide to get a different water bottle to drink out of, right? And it just changes what you do. And it is about making judgments when new information comes to the surface, or becomes aware to you. All right, what is beyond your control this week is the Knight of Pentacles. So some sort of movement here in the Way of Pentacles. So this could be anything from, just decisions that you're making about money or spending money. It could also, again, be about your, about where you live. This could be something about anything about the material world around you, anything that's tangible that you can touch. This is about action in that area, and it's just beyond your control that action will take place this week. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Well, I hope it's your secret desire, because this is the Fool card, which means you're off on this new journey and you've got this new start. You've got this energy gain. I mean, everything leads to this. You're letting something go from your path. You're really thinking about these new steps that you're taking. You've been manifesting this. I mean, I think this is about just things becoming real that you've been dreaming and thinking about. And I think it's a very awesome reading for that reason. So if you're comfortable sharing in the comments, do you have some things that are coming true that you've been manifesting and thinking about, in your recent past? Things, this could be, dreams come true from, we manifest things, but it takes a long time for those things to kind of work out and all the pieces to fit together. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I actually did ask for this, and here I am in the middle of it. So, at least enjoy the moment while you're there. And, here you are off on a new journey. I hope that's not what you're trying to avoid. It doesn't feel like from this reading that would be the case. This is you excitedly letting these things go, taking this thing that you've manifested and running with it, which is very exciting. And your outcome, Aries, is things happening very rapidly here with the Eight of Wands. So things are moving very quickly for you this week. Trying to think if see if we have any repeating numbers here for me to look at. I don't see any for you, but a new start is coming. Energy's gaining momentum. Again, you're letting things go. You're moving ahead to the future. Everything is just like, it's just no brakes. It's all gas and let's take off and go. Let's see what's hidden from you this week from at the bottom of the deck. Hidden from you is the Eight of Swords here. So you're not feeling stuck. There's nothing you need to think your way out of. Again, the eight that you get represented, which you might want to look up angel number 88 only because that's appearing. But the eight for you is that things are happening quickly. So make sure you keep taking care of yourself. Make sure you're eating well, resting well, as all of these changes and these things are coming about, because it looks like you definitely have got that going on for this week and probably for the near future, I would say too. Tarot readings are for a week, but this feels like a new start that's just something you've been waiting for, asking for, and here it is at your doorstep, which I think is very exciting. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Aries as they take off on this new journey here. Do what you love. That's a great message too. And what do they say? If you do what you love and if it becomes your work, you never work another day in your life. And maybe that's it for some of you. This could be, celebrating, a new job, a new something, a new passion. We're talking about wands there. Of course, again, that's typically our card of marriage, but it doesn't have to be. It's just that you're celebrating something that you're very passionate about. Here's what I don't see in your reading at all, by the way, are cups. There's not one cup, and sometimes I do like to look and see what's missing in a reading. There's no cups here because I feel like, hopefully you're just happy about all this. I don't see any happy or sad emotions. It's almost like you're expecting these things to happen. They start happening, and you're just like, okay, this is great. You just run with it. So let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care for the week, Aries. Self-care for Aries this week, February 1st through the 7th. First week of February here. All right, this card wants to come out. And the card is the card called Rituals. Steady yourself with simple rituals. Do the dishes, fold the laundry, water the plants, make a cup of tea. Let wisdom sneak up on you. I love that card. That's so awesome. Yeah, do those rituals. What do they say? Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. For you, it's before this change. You have things to do. After, you're also going to have those things to do. And let those ritualistic things that you do every day become the spiritual things that you're doing every day. Things that you're doing for yourself, cooking well for yourself, taking care of yourself. So I love that card, and stick to those rituals because they do keep us nice and even and balanced. So Aries, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there was something you can take away in this reading this week and use. Again, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below and let me know, what kind of new start you guys have coming, what energy is gaining momentum. Is it something that you were manifesting or working on has come to fruition for you? Is it something that, are you getting to do what you love? Anyway, I would love to hear all those details. Also, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you as well. And if you like and subscribe to my channel, it'll help you find me next week, and that makes me very happy. So thank you so much, Aries, and I will see you here next time. Bye-bye.